It's really, in my opinion, being put at his doorstep now for him to step through and say, I'm the quarterback here. No wonder he's got a lot of excitement. The schedule's weak. The team's getting stronger. The division is kind of walking back more. I mean, think about it. The Giants, they're not picking up the fifth-year option on Daniel Jones. Carson Wentz has to prove finally that he can win a job and stay there. The Cowboys have lost players and sort of rebuilding in the O-line. National Football Show, and do we have a big one lined up for you today? Big Silz in the house. Appreciate everybody stepping in with us already. Please hit the like button. I want to get the guest out of the way because you're going to enjoy it. By the way, I don't want to hear Eagle Guy doing this. Cowboys, Silz. You got to beat that team, guys. That is your standard. You got to beat the Cowboys. The Cowboys have run the division for the last couple of years. Since the 17 Super Bowl, it's really been the Cowboys. You got to beat that team. So, the CEO of the Dallas Cowboys, Stephen Jones, will join us at the bottom of this hour. We'll talk some Sixers basketball with our legendary Hall of Famer, Rick Barry, at 4:30 Eastern Time. But mark it down. Bottom of the hour, the CEO of the Cowboys, Stephen Jones, will join us, and we'll talk some Cowboy football because, as I've said, you got to beat that team. And I think you have a great chance this year of catching the Cowboys. The Cowboys, there's no question about it, have walked backwards. The loss of Randy Gregory on the defensive side. You know, Gregory, with all of his issues, the one thing you could say about him, when he's on the field, that guy is an impact football player. I've always said this before. I've had an issue with him because of his decision-making, smoking marijuana before the combines, knocked him down in the draft when he came out of Nebraska. But when his head is right, I think the Denver Broncos have added an impactful player to that defensive side of the football for them. The Broncos have had a spectacular offseason. So, and anytime you can add a guy like Randy Gregory and Russell Wilson to your football team, the Broncos, like I said, really fabulous offseason. You got to look at what they did now with Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper's now in Cleveland. How much of an impact is that going to have on Dak Prescott? The Eagles have added players. The Eagles have put quality guys on the roster. I think this is going to be a great battle this year between the Cowboys, Washington, and Philly. So once again, the CEO of the Cowboys, Stephen Jones, will be with us. That'll be at the bottom of the hour. And as I said to you guys, please hit the like button. Paul says Dak has had 2 4,000-yard seasons. You know what, though, Paul? I would say this to you about Dak. He's got to start translating more of it into postseason wins. Okay? He's got to start winning more, in my opinion, in the postseason. You can't win the division, have the kind of football team that you had a year ago, and get bounced in your opening round of the playoffs. You can't. Zach says, we got them this year, Silz. It's going to be an Eagle division. I believe it. I'm with you. Hey, Bradbury, from what I understand, the Raiders have great interest in him as well. Joey B., I appreciate you coming aboard. Okay? That's right, Tony. What good is it putting up 4,000 yards passing when you get bounced in the opening round of your playoffs? Dak's 1-3 in the postseason. Hey, join the group there with Aaron Rodgers over the last couple of years. It's not very easy to win in the postseason. That's why some of these legendary guys have spectacular postseason marks like Montana and Brady. Those guys own it. I think Joe's 16-5 in the postseason. Brady's numbers, what is it, 37 wins or some crazy number like that? He almost doubles the next guy, which is Joe Montana. It's not that easy to win in the postseason. Peyton Manning's 14-13. Brett Favre is 2 games over 500. It's not as easy as you think. So, all that being said, big show lined up again for you. Like I said, I'm looking forward. I was just telling Xander, let me hit on this just a little bit here. I'm looking forward to Game 5 with the Sixers. Joel Embiid has me watching this series, more so than any other series, obviously. I just love this guy. He's an old school dude. There's 2 dudes I'm rooting for, Giannis and Embiid. I want to see those 2 guys in the Eastern Conference Finals, man. I'd love to see that. I would love to see that happen if we were fortunate enough to get that into a championship setting. I don't care. I want to see those 2 guys going after one another. That's made for television. So I'm looking forward to Game 5. All right. Folks, I think Jalen Hurts got the best news that you could possibly give a player. Do you know what that is? The Philadelphia Eagles have the 30th hardest schedule in the NFL for this 2022 season. Glenn Rivers, dude, I'd run through a wall for you. We so agree on so much. And yes, Hurts isn't the answer. The answer is the kid in Kentucky. I said it to you yesterday. By the way, I finished my first mock draft. Wait till you hear how many quarterbacks are going to go in the top 32 picks next April. Hey, brother, Glenn, love you, man. Thank you so much for writing that. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate what you did, too, there. Thank you. So Jalen Hurts is going to get the benefit of the 30th hardest schedule. You know the Cowboys have a easier schedule than what the Eagles do? The Cowboys. And they won the division. Okay? And they won the division. Jalen is going to get an opportunity with this new group of players. You think it's a thing? They have the 30th toughest schedule in the NFL. Boy, that's set up for success. Everything is now set up for Jalen Hurts to have a season that could maybe solidify him as the player that could be here for the next 5 years, 10 years as a starting quarterback. I think this is huge. You're not going to have a schedule like the Rams. You're not going to have a schedule like Kansas City where you're playing monsters. How would you like to be in the AFC West this year? Or let alone the NFC West? How would you like to be in that division? Where like all 4 teams in the AFC West could arguably make the postseason. It's incredible. And you're now set up for success. There is nothing that should be in the way right now of Jalen Hurts not winning this job. I think his odds have now gone up. I think it's now gone up of him being your quarterback going into the next 5 years. Am I wrong? Guys, this is it. He's got it. New additions, A.J. Brown, strong running attack, another year with Devontae, another year with Nick Sirianni. A weak schedule, a weak NFC East. Dude, pretty amazing. Pretty amazing how this is lining up for him. It's really, in my opinion, being put at his doorstep now for him to step through and say, I'm the quarterback here. No wonder he's got a lot of excitement. The schedule's weak. The team's getting stronger. The division is kind of walking back more. I mean, think about it. The Giants, they're not picking up the fifth-year option on Daniel Jones. Carson Wentz has to prove finally that he can win a job and stay there. The Cowboys have lost players and sort of rebuilding in the O-line. Chris says, what if Hurts takes the Eagles to a Super Bowl? I got to say this to you guys. Where's that sheet? I wrote this down. I don't think he gets enough credit, and maybe I've been banging on this thing too much. What kind of owner do you think you have in Jeffrey Lurie? Look at what's happening here. They're rebuilding the team in front of your eyes, and since the Super Bowl win, they're really doing a pretty decent job at retooling and rebuilding. You know, we said it yesterday to you that, you know what? They do believe organizations win championships. That's their philosophy. We figured it out. Do you believe that Jeffrey Lurie is a good owner? Busa says good owner. I don't know why the Cowboys have the easiest schedule at 31st. I think they're tied. Chris says Lurie is a snowflake liberal. I don't care about his politics. I care he puts football teams together, Chris. I don't give a shit about that stuff. I don't care about his politics. I don't care about his religion. I care he's the owner of a football team that doesn't allow people like Reggie White to walk out the building, or you don't sign a guy like Jim Lachey who could have helped your football team back in the day when you had that legendary gangrene defense. As much as I love Norman Brayman, he was a horrible owner. He was the Charlie Finley of football back in the day. Never wanted to spend money. You heard what Keith Byers said last Friday. Reggie would never have left Philly. They just gave him a money contract that matched what Green Bay did. He never wanted to leave. Lurie is in the middle of the pack. It's funny you should say that because I put some statistics down here on your owner. Since he took control of the team in 94. He's 90% cheap ass too. I think he's more frugal. Hey, Paul, from what I've learned now from Keith Byers, there is no doubt Norman Brayman was a terrible owner. Okay? That's right, one above all. I don't care if he's a liberal or conservative. I could care less. Build my football team. Let's win games. Let's be contending, not competitive. Contending. I don't give a shit about that. Why does that you know what? It's funny on how today in our society, how that really bleeds in. If you're a MAGA guy or you're not a MAGA guy, people like put that in as your character. When years ago, that never mattered. I don't care what your politics or religion. I care what kind of person you are and what kind of human being you are. I care how you treat others. I care how you talk to others. I care how you really, when no one's watching, that's when you really get a true sense of who a guy is. Not when the lights are on you. Samuel, Jerry Jones has been a spectacular NFL owner. He has been a spectacular NFL owner. Sec, for me, man, I don't care what people's sexuality, their religion, their politics. Okay? That's a different conversation. When I'm talking sports with you, I don't sit here and go, well, he's a conservative, so I'll talk to him later. No, he's a liberal. I can kind of hit on him. Hey, no, I don't do that, man. I don't classify people. You're either a jackass or you're a good dude, man. Like my grandfather back in the day. There's no gray area. Okay? There's no gray area, man. My pop was right and wrong. Right and wrong, nothing in the middle. He hated wafflers. Hated it. Since 94, when Lurie took the control of the team from Brayman's group, 244, 202 for a 54% win percentage. 17-10 in the postseason. 16 playoff appearances. 2 Super Bowl appearances, two NFC championships, obviously the Super Bowl, numerous conference championship games. The guy's been a great owner. Name me a better owner in the NFL since 94. Kraft and who? Kraft and who? Bolin, who owned the Broncos, who's selling the team now? Maybe. Biscotti, who owns the Ravens. I want you to think about this here, about your owner with the Eagles. Name me a better owner other than Kraft since 94 when he grabbed the team. Name me one. Jerry? Probably. 3 Super Bowls. It was early in the run. Steelers are in the conversation. Think about where we're going here now. Steelers, Cowboys, Patriots, Eagles. These are, since 1994, Jeffrey Lurie has been a top 5 owner in the league. Am I wrong? The Maras and the Tishes, you could debate. Go back and forth. You could debate. The last 10 years in New York, the Giants have sucked out loud. Seattle, Paul Allen, that's been a pretty good one. Passed away. The family hasn't run the team as of late correctly because obviously the family's not Paul Allen. Paul Allen was a heck of a partner in the NFL as well. Am I right? Would you put Jeffrey Lurie in the top 5 as owners in the NFL? Rand Skip Town, that's a great one, man. By the way, they're getting sued too. Packers don't have an owner. Green Bay Packers do not have an owner. Since 94, when he grabbed control of the team from the Norman Brayman Group, would you say you have a top 5 owner in the NFL? Is he better than Kroenke? I think so. Got a brand new stadium, which I've been to 5 times. I love it. Been to numerous conference title games. The brand is better than ever before. The ownership group has done a nice job at retooling and rebuilding. Robert Kraft, obviously, Randall, is the number 1 owner since 94. I think, quite frankly, that's around the time that Bob Kraft got the team from Victor Kiam, too. Victor Kiam owned the Patriots. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Victor Kiam sold the team to Bob Kraft. And Bob ended up taking control around the same time that Jeffrey Lurie took control of the Eagles. That's pretty impressive. For all the crap that people give the owner's been pretty successful. He's owned a team for 28 years, 16 playoff appearances. I mean, that's Steelers stuff. A Super Bowl. Right? By the way, I would say to you a bunch of near misses too. My opinion, if they win that last game at the Vet and they get in that Super Bowl against the Raiders, do we all agree they win that game too? That year, the Super Bowl was really played between the Bucs and the Eagles. They were the 2 best teams. Because in my opinion, the Eagles would have went into that game against the Raiders, and they would have kicked the tar out of them. I mean, look, I went and looked at all the rest of the owners. 1980 was a different ownership group. He's owned a team since 94. Owned a team since 94. And I'm talking about the Raiders when the Bucs beat the Raiders in San Diego. I'm not talking about the 80 game where the Raiders won that Super Bowl. I'm talking about the last game at the Vet. Okay? How much credit do you give Kraft for Belichick's success? Davey boy, a bunch. A bunch. Let's not forget something. They went to a Super Bowl before Bill Belichick was the head coach, when Bob Kraft owned the team. They got beat by the Packers. Kraft owned the team then. That was Parcells as the head coach then. And they got beaten that Super Bowl, if you remember right. But Bob Kraft owned the team. So Kraft has been a great football owner. And for the record, I don't know how Bob Kraft is not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I mean, this guy is the most dominant owner in NFL history, or at least since the Super Bowl era. I don't know in history. Maybe you'd have to go George Halas, the Robbies, the Rooneys, the DeMaras too. I mean, I would throw them in there. But since the Super Bowl era, Bob Kraft has the greatest football dynasty next to the Rooneys. Okay, because the Rooneys have done it since '69. Really, the Patriots have been doing it pretty much since '94. So, I mean, it's been remarkable. Your owner has put quite a resume together. So when you see what they're doing, you know what you got to really start looking at? Because now that I'm getting a really good portrait of what the Eagle management and ownership believes in, they believe in their front offices. There's no question their front offices run their football team, run their budget, run their football team. The coaches and the players are interchangeable. They're interchangeable. No matter if Doug Peterson's there or Nick Sirianni's there. That's how they do business. And if they're not getting it done, they will make a move. And they won't have any emotional ties to anyone like the fans do in Philly. You see, the fans have emotional ties into whether or not you like Carson Wentz or not, whether or not you like Doug Peterson or not, whether or not you like Donovan McNabb or not. That's not how that front office looks at it. Joe Banner, Howie Roseman, all those guys, they look at it through the lens of the owner, while the owner builds the team through the front office. It's almost like a Chicago Bulls way of building it. Jerry Krause believed that front offices, and for the record, Jerry Krause was a hell of a talent evaluator in Chicago with the Bulls. Look at what he did. Found Tony Kukoc, got Rodman, found Pippen, hired Phil Jackson, fired Doug Collins. This was all Jerry Krause doing this. Now, obviously, he wasn't able to duplicate once all those guys were let, but they believed that they were going to run that franchise through the front office. Big Silz to get a job with the Eagles. Samuel, no. I'm looking at where you are right now and how they get to where they want to get to. You see, to me, Samuel, what I do here every day, I try to figure out mentality, and I try to figure out what Jimmy Johnson used to tell me all the time. You know what that is? That's getting a profile of how your organization acts. Gregory says, Dan, the year that the Cardinals played the Steelers in the Super Bowl, they beat the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. I think if the Eagles had won that game, they beat the Steelers that year. Gregory, those Eagle teams that went to all those conference title games back in the day, those games were so close and so good. I would say this. How many years did you guys go to four straight conference title games? I would say in those 4 conference title games, I'd say about 80 plays separated you guys from going to Super Bowls. 80 plays in all 4 of those. About 20 plays a game separated you guys from maybe winning a Super Bowl during that run. It was a well-constructed team. They were powerful. They had a great coach. Okay? They had a great defensive coordinator. Make no mistake about it. Those football teams were primed and ready. So when we talk again, and we started the show out with Jalen here, having everything set up for him, the organization now has it in the hands of Jalen Hurts. And you know what you're really liking here? Whether or not, here, I said something to you guys yesterday on this, and I'll say it again to you. Whether or not you believe in Jalen, and whether or not the Eagle management 100% believes in Jalen, hey, and for the record, I don't really think any ownership group or any GM's office completely believes in a player 100% unless you're somebody with a resume like Tom Brady and you see the consistent success of it. I think they're always looking to upgrade coaches, players, assistants, personnel departments. They're constantly looking at always getting better. So whether or not they're buying into Jalen, it's irrelevant. They're looking at it through their lens today, going into September. This kid's got every chance to win this. And and think about where Howie Roseman is. Don't you think that Howie Roseman, it would be a feather in his cap if he drafted a second-round quarterback who became the franchise quarterback, had him on a rookie deal, replaced him with Carson Wentz, and this guy goes on to leading a team to a Super Bowl? Don't you think he wants that? Howie doesn't want to go into the draft and have to use a first-round draft choice to get a quarterback. He wants this kid to succeed. Here, if he'll keep Jalen Reagor or Derek Barnett on a football team, how would you not think he doesn't want Jalen to succeed? He's not setting the kid up for failure here. He wants the kid to play. He wants the kid to be successful. That's how he's looking at this. Jeremiah goes, he would have the keys to the city. Absolutely, he would have the keys to the city. He would completely have it. You know, I wrote down, and by the way, we kind of hit on this yesterday. So we're going to, here, the schedule is easier. They've added players. Look at what Howie has put himself and the team in. Look at all the draft choices for next year. Let me read you guys a list. I wrote this down here. Look at how many quarterbacks are going to go in the first round. Listen to this. Howie has it perfectly set up. Listen to this. I gave you this list yesterday. Will Levis, Kentucky, probably be the first player taken. 1. C.J. Stroud, Ohio State, 2. Bryce Young, Alabama, 3. Kyler Van Dyke, Miami, 4. Now watch this. 4, that's in the top 10. Devin Leary, NC State, 5. Malik Cunningham, Louisville, 6. Okay? Anthony Richardson, Florida. 7 quarterbacks. Anthony Richardson, Malik Cunningham, Louisville. 7 quarterbacks are going to go in the first round next year. 7. That's pretty remarkable. 7 quarterbacks with first-round grades. Just to show you the dynamic of this year, only 1 went. There's going to be a flooding of quarterbacks in next year's NFL draft, 7 quarterbacks are going to be taken in the top 25 picks. And the Eagles have 2 first-round picks next year. The Eagles can't lose. They can't lose this. The schedule's not that tough. They're going to get an opportunity to succeed. I think the NFC East is going to be as competitive as it's been, as it continues to get better. I think they're going to continue to get better. I think the organizations have decided, look, what the Giants did. The Giants went out, hired Brian Daboll. Brian Daboll did a hell of a job with Josh Allen and the development of him. You always can tell what a division is doing when you see the coaches that are in that division. Cody says this is Hurts' year to shine. I hope he does, because the team will be good and will be winning. Cody, set up for him. There's no excuses. Omar says how he wants Hurts to succeed. We want Howie to, you should. How many became elite? My guess is 2 or 3 most. Sean, that's every single NFL draft. The quarterback position is the most difficult position to evaluate. For whatever reason, it's the most difficult, okay?